Okay, so this SalesforceBen survey about developers is out, and I wanna make sure that I don't miss the hype train, of course. And let's go and do the deep dive. So first of all, it's in collaboration with Pablo Gonzalez, and Pablo is known as the DevOps guy who is writing now the best practices on Apex. So naturally, the whole survey, and I did it myself as well, is a little bit biased towards DevOps because there have been a lot of DevOps questions, which is kind of also probably going into the direction of some ads with the AutoRabbit or like whoever sponsored this. This doesn't it's not bad. It's fine. I like DevOps. It's good, but it was surprising to see that many DevOps questions in the quiz, because DevOps for I would say majority of the Salesforce developers, it's kind of like a side quest in the main maze of delivering the project. It's more like a means. But nevertheless, let's go in and let's see what do we have there. So we have key insights. We don't really care about key insights. Let's immediately dive into this. So first of all, that most people who took this were seniors. And that's interesting. And this is, I think it's quite fair distribution with seniors 50% and then intermediate 35. So intermediate, that's what we mean by middle developers sometimes. I think it's quite fair. I think we have more intermediate developers actually than seniors. But probably seniors were a little bit more motivated doing those type of surveys, because they probably don't have much to do on the work. No, of course, no, not because of that. All right, so what do we have there? 62. What is 62? What is the 62? 62 answering that they have 3 to 10 years of experience. All right. Yeah. Fair. How many Salesforce certifications do you have? This is interesting. So 1 to 5, majority of people have 1 to 5. Okay, and this is an interesting part because what you can see here is that actually some of them have none. Actually, quite a big part. So more people have 0 certifications than 11 plus certifications. And that's interesting because I think there is something about having 0 certifications. I don't tell you that you should go for this goal, but I think that when you're a good developer, here's what happens. You show yourself that you're a good developer, and people start noticing it. So people are like, oh, Igor, can you help me with that? Or whatever is the name. Alex, can you help me with that? Can you help me with that? Can you shadow me there? Can you come with me on the meeting? And what happens that for people who are really good, they get just more work, and they get also better because they get more work, and they get to work on more exciting projects, so they are excited themselves. They get to work with more experienced people, so they get even more experience. So I think that if you're really performing well on your job, you're gonna have hard times finding time for certifications. Unless you're one of those people who don't wanna, who wanna, instead of going and watching Netflix after the workday, who wanna go and grind certification. But this is just saying that some of the best developers that I know, they have 0 certifications, exactly because of these dynamics that I described. Which is not a rule, right? You better have more certifications than less, on average. Right. Well, this is not surprising that male and female gonna be a big shift into males, of course, because tech, I don't know. I have no idea about the reasons. I am not gonna pretend I have any clue about the reasons. I know that when I studied computer science degree at the German university, we had the same issue. And we had the issue, it was also from approximately 70 to 30%. And the funny thing was that computer science, it is kind of coming from the math, right? So in computer science, we had a lot of lectures together with the math students. And in the math, it was other way around. Like math, it was 70 to 30 with the females being like 70%. And that was quite interesting, right? Because if you study computer science and if you study math, this is actually not that much of a huge gap between those two subjects. Different subjects, but it's like physics and chemistry, whatever, different subjects, but like the gap is not that big. It goes somehow in the right direction, in the same direction. All right. Okay, so what do they have? What is this? Knowledge and skills. Okay. So 53% of people agree that that Salesforce is getting more complex to work with. I guess so. I don't know. 34% were unsure. 13% disagree with this statement. I don't remember what I put there, but I would guess that I don't know. Is it getting more difficult to work with the Salesforce? I don't know. When I started with Salesforce, we had workflow rules and process builders and flows and triggers, and that was hell of a zoo. And you actually had I failed platform app builder because I could not differentiate when to use a workflow rule, when to use a process builder, when flow, because the imaginary rules of the Salesforce, they were so strange. Like when you have to use what, like when you think about it now, that we actually had this discussion when to use process builder, when to use flow. Like that's actually crazy. So I don't know. In this regard, yes, flows they got more advanced, but that also kind of simplified the whole Salesforce thing. So I don't know. And Apex itself and LWC doesn't really change that much. There are a few updates, so I don't think that Salesforce gets that much crazier to work with. Maybe like tiny bit, but not too crazy. It's not Salesforce is not a green startup that changes all the time as a platform. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's interesting to see what people think because I don't see that. Right? What else? So, how satisfied are you with your current skill level? Oh, that's interesting. So, 34% answered satisfied, with a 43% neutral and not satisfied. I guess depends how you look at this, right? How can you be satisfied with your skill? Like, I think it all depends on how you word this, because I am satisfied with the skill. Does it mean that I am satisfied I'm not gonna be doing anything? Or does it mean that I'm good enough to perform my job? I guess that, and some people say neutral. I would say yeah, neutral. Okay, this backed up further by the question, what do you think holding your team back in 2024? All right, and what people think is that they're not visualized, right? This is something else. So 28% training deficiencies. Okay. 44% answered that it was due to the resource constraint and management issues, possibly a result of budget cuts and layoffs over the past 18 months. Interesting. On my last job that I worked, what was the holding back? The client not knowing what they need exactly. That was the most holding back at the last company that I worked. But I guess that's more or less management issue. So I kind of with people here who say 44%. All right, so then what is the next question here? Front-end development. All right, so that's what people say that they want to learn, right? LWC, yeah, I can totally see that. LWC is a huge pain and right now is a big skill in demand, for sure. DevOps, that's interesting. Why do we need DevOps? Why do we need to put such a big emphasis on DevOps? That's interesting. Maybe I need to take my words back by DevOps being a side quest. I don't know, I just never saw DevOps as the most important part or something that you should specifically target like absolutely necessary. Maybe as a senior developer, DevOps can be indeed kind of a constraint where you're expected, or to become a senior, right? So to be a senior, you're expected to own a project fully from beginning till the end. And for that, of course, you need also to understand the DevOps part. But to definitely, if you're a beginner and if you're watching this and you're a beginner and you're thinking about DevOps, don't think about this. DevOps is not something for you. You need to focus on the fundamentals. DevOps is coming later. I don't really advise people doing anything about DevOps until they have the first job and they can actually do that on the job. Right? So don't do that. Integration with other platforms. This is my favorite topic, integrations. I love integrations. What I think about integrations is that they got way easier than before. When I just started, we had to write all the integrations on our own. Now you have things like make.com, I think it was previously Integromat or something. Something like, what was it, MuleSoft the Salesforce uses, right? So there's a lot of simplification that you can do with integrations. And I think right now, most developers, they are more like integration architects versus actually writing that much of integrations themselves. That's what I see at least. Advanced object-oriented concepts. Okay, and design patterns. This is also an interesting one, because I think what actually people mean when they say it is that they just want to have more experience with writing code. Like, patterns is definitely something that you should learn, but for like a big percentage of people, when they say, oh, I want to learn pattern, actually what they want to learn is that they want to just get more experience to how other people write the code that they want to write. That's basically what people mean. But this is interesting. This is good to see it in the top 4. This looks perfectly fine for me. It's definitely very plausible. Okay, deep dive. Now, what's the deep dive? Deep dive to what? DevOps. Here we go. This is what I meant, that they have such a big DevOps focus. No idea why. I don't know. Maybe that was just, every developer has own career, own experience. For me, my whole DevOps journey was basically that I was relatively forced to do DevOps quite early in my career as even a junior developer. I had to already set up pipelines and work with pipelines, and it wasn't something overly complicated. And then as an intermediate developer, I was still doing that. And we had specialized people who specialized in the release management, and we had quite sophisticated pipelines. But it was never, it's like a vehicle to deliver the project. It's never the main thing. It's part of the architecture that you develop for the project, but it's a small part. From my experience, it's like you spend from, let's say you have 100 units of time or money or budget that you can spend on the project. Maybe 10 units you would spend on the DevOps and setting up, maybe even less. But like majority of the things of the budget, you basically spend it on the actual development and delivery, not on the DevOps. That's why also your time there as a developer, it's kind of like a side quest. And by the way, I did not use any of them, okay? But I used GearSet, and I love GearSet. I don't know, I love it. But not an ad. They didn't pay me. Right. So 70% of responders are using DevOps tools. Yeah. What happened to the remaining 30%? What do they do? What do you guys do that don't use any DevOps tools? Probably working on smaller projects with not that many people on it. Okay. So 70% responders using some kind of DevOps tool, with the biggest majority using SFDX and CI jobs with a version control system. Fair, okay. 23% are using third-party vendor, such as those mentioned. Yeah, this is, I think, from my experience, the cheapest, of course, is just you write yourself the pipeline. Sounds hard. It's not that hard to write yourself the pipeline. It's basically just some shell scripting and some SFDX commands. It's not super hard. And it's cheap. Relatively cheap, right? If you don't count your time as expensive, then it's quite cheap. Then the second best option is Gearset, or maybe out one of those that I didn't use, so I don't know. I think it's the quickest, the easiest, and not necessarily not necessarily the cheapest version. And then we have DevOps Center. I think DevOps, there's an existing pipeline with the DevOps Center. It's quite good. So I like the idea behind the DevOps Center. I hope that Salesforce is gonna make DevOps Center better though. Okay, so only 23. What do you mean only 23? What do you mean only 23 are using change sets? It's not only 23. It's like wow, 23% using change sets. Oh my god. and 6% don't know what they use. Okay, I guess okay, I guess this is just the flow of the survey. I don't think that actually as a Salesforce professional you don't know what you use. I think it's more like they click there. 20% of responders, DevOps was one of the largest skill gaps identified by developers in the previous section. Interesting. However, it's encouraging to see that 39% of developers know how to use basic Git commands. What? 39%? Only 39%? How is it possible? Know how to use, to see 39% of developers know how to use basic Git commands. And 37 know how to use basic commands with SFDX CLI, with roughly 25% of respondents knowing both tools very well. This is super low. This is not encouraging. This is very low. This is not good. This is not good. 39%. It means that 60% of developers didn't say that they know basics commands with Git. This is not okay. This is not okay. Look, especially because here, what we had, where are those? Come show me. That half of the people were senior, and then, so basically, 52 plus, how much is it? Like roughly 88% of the people who took the survey, say that they are either intermediate or seniors. And from those 80%, at least 20% don't know how to use Git. Like, how is it possible? How is it possible? No, Git, if you work as a developer and if you don't know how to use Git, go learn it. Like, you can learn Git in a weekend, right? It's not crazy thing. Yeah, you might not go super deep into the Git, but you will be able to like hack together something with the CLI on Git and SFDX as well. Like, you cannot work right now as a modern Salesforce developer without knowing how to use Git properly. Just no. No. And 37% know how to use basic SFDX CLI. Crazy. This is not encouraging. This is crazy. All right. So sandbox seeding and masking till a new concept. Yeah, this is also a new concept for me. Maybe I just don't know fancy words. All right. Anyway, automatically. Okay. So what do we have? 51 deploy their own changes. Don't deploy changes. All right. It's fine. Developers would like DevOps tools that would be easier for admins to use. I guess so. I mean, no one wanna have tools that are harder to use, right? So, okay. Artificial intelligence, my favorite one, AI. Let's see, what do we have? So 30% of survey are using AI tools on a daily, regular basis, 41 using it now and again. Using it now and again, okay? And 28% aren't using it at all. Guys, 28% that don't use it, you're fine. You thought I'm gonna be... No, they are fine. If you don't use AI, I think you're good. I mean, if you don't need it, don't use it. The only one thing that you might end up falling behind certain things, right? You might end up falling behind in the productivity, but right now AI is not necessarily adding that much of productivity. I know that people write on the internet all the time, hey, AI like plus 30% of productivity. I don't see it right now. Like I don't see it. For me personally, it does add a little bit to productivity, but not necessarily plus 30-40%. No. Okay, so let's see some statistics. ChatGPT is a clear winner when it comes to the tools being used, with a GitHub Copilot at 27, okay? We haven't distinguished between the free version of ChatGPT and ChatGPT Plus, an oversight on our part. No, I don't think it's an oversight because who cares? And if you're using a free ChatGPT, why are you doing that? Like, what's the benefit in that? I don't find the free version of ChatGPT any tiny bit useful. I think that wait, so the free version, it used to be 3.5, right? Now it's 4.0. So 4.0 is actually okay-ish. But the 3.5 was actually quite terrible. Anyway. So Google Gemini, interesting. I didn't know it's gonna rank so high. Okay, Einstein for developers, never use this. Microsoft Azure. How do you use Microsoft Azure for what? For AI? What? Is it like training own models? What do you do with that? Okay, so 68%, increased productivity 56, okay. Writing tests. Yeah, I think this is good. Like writing tests, I think is a good one. Personally, right now, as of right now, the 2nd of August, I prefer Claude 3.5 Sonnet or any ChatGPT model. So if you're using ChatGPT, try out Sonnet. It's good. Concerned. All right, so let's see. So people are concerned about AI. So 47% said that AI tools are important, of course. Serious concerns about AI and security with 36. What are you concerned about? No, I really want to know. Like, I know, maybe it was phrased in that way in the survey that people I'm concerned of, like, are you concerned about AI? Yeah, kind of, right? But I'm not concerned with AI. I don't know, AI is cool. Let it be. Okay, this is fun. Einstein trust layer. This only alleviates concerns for 37%. So basically 37% say, yeah, the Salesforce AI trust layer is a cool thing. Then 42 are like, let's see. And then 21 no. So basically 63% of people, majority of people, developers in the Salesforce, they're like about this Einstein trust layer. Let's see. I totally on board with that. Tooling and coding. All right. Let's see. So this is the distribution of people. Programmatic, mix of both, declarative. And okay. I mean, I guess that's expected. Interesting that 22 are using only declarative. Mainly declarative. I don't think that a person that uses mainly declarative tools, like mainly, this is the keyword, mainly, it means that more than 80% or 90% of the time. I don't think that this person can say that they are developers. Like, I'm sorry. But I think if you're not writing code or not dealing with the code on a daily or weekly basis, you are not doing development. You're kind of in this weird admin lopper job. But if you're doing flows all the time, even if Salesforce has the name for it as a declarative developer, I don't think it is the case. Simply because you're not using the patterns of the development in most cases. You're not working with architecture, you're not programming actively. It's not that important though. That's fine. Like, who cares? You can solve business problems. If you solve business problems, it's fine. No one cares how you solve it. 78% of developers now report using Flow more in the past year. Yeah, flows are cool. And flows are rocking it. Right? The top 5 programming languages in the Salesforce are Apex, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Is it a meme? Is it a meme? Who puts HTML and CSS into programming languages? Come on. Don't do that. Just don't do. They're not programming languages. They're markup languages. You cannot program with HTML and CSS. So you cannot put them together in one list with Apex, JavaScript, and Python. You just can't. Other languages include AI, ML technologies. How? How can you also include this into the programming languages? These are not the programming languages. Those are areas of development, right? AI, ML. AMP script, fine. Tableau, fine, okay. We're gonna slide it in. VSQL, no idea what it is, to be honest. Other common technologies include AWS, okay, this is good, Node.js, DevOps, Docker, Kubernetes, and Java. This is, yeah, but HTML and CSS, no. Okay. 60% of respondents work with Experience Cloud. Okay. Top plugins and extensions. Nice. Let's see, what's that? Apex PMD. I wonder how you guys use this. Like, I tried this thing, I didn't like it, I don't find it useful. Yeah, I wonder how you use it. Okay, Prettier, nice. Package.xml generator, the best tool. The best tool. Apex Log Analyzer. Debugger, okay. I don't find that it works as good as it should be, unfortunately. Illuminated Cloud. Illuminated Cloud is the best IDE on the market, I think. And conclusion. So what is my conclusion? It's a nice survey. I liked it. This is my conclusion. SalesforceBen did a terrific job, and go check out yourself. And I really, really like it, and I hope you liked it too. So yeah.